And now I'm going to some CPS schools and I'm seeing a lot of things getting cut. A lot of things getting cut. And it's breaking my heart. As I was saying before we started rolling, the music programs, the various music programs that I was very fortunate to be a part of, saved my life. And I'm sure that there are a lot of others that will say the exact same thing. And I would like to get your broad perspective before we start to get into the micro. Your broad perspective on where CPS is now. And if you can, sort of how we got here.
I don't know whether or not you can talk in steps as far as where the system is.
Right.
The system has been having issues from even when I started.
Right.
But moving to a different perspective of what they have now, where it's become more, how shall I put it, less regimented. For example, you had to go from a teacher to department chair, to assistant principal, to district superintendent, before you could even consider going down to central office.
Right.
By the time I got down to central office in 2005, they were hiring people with little or no CPS or teaching experience. I was the only one in the Office of Arts Education that had an actual teaching certificate.
Wow.
And that's because of the way things have changed. I think education has changed. Obviously, the advent of technology has become an integral part, but also what has also changed too is the requirements for the arts and requirements for music. When I first started, we had an entirely different kind of graduation requirement, where they have now added on 3 years of a math, 3 years of a science. When I was in high school, and when I first started, it was a year of science, 2 years of math, 2 years of math, 1 year of science, so that you add up to that.
Right.
Well, that has totally changed now. And what has happened is that the amount of time available in the course of a day has lessened. Also, we had, when they lessened the PE requirement from 4 years to 2 years, I can't remember the exact date, I'm thinking it's in the early 90s.
Right.
We had an opportunity to add on more classes in music that we wanted to do. Since then, they have reverted back to the 4-year requirement.
Right.
So that takes away a lot. They've also added other requirements that did not exist when I was teaching. So there's a lot of changes that have come on. I don't think that they've added on so many things now that it doesn't really get to teach what I call the holistic child.
Right.
You know, to me, there are 4 domains, and these are mine. They are not anybody's. It's not from a book. They're mine. The mental, the academic, spiritual, physical, and emotional.
Right.
And those, I believe that those 4 domains have to be dealt with as we grow up, as we evolve as human beings.
Right.
And so I felt that in band, in music, being in music, or in the arts in any way, when you have a young child coming in and they find their niche, they're going to be there. I remember you being in the band room at Simeon as much as possible.
Absolutely.
I had students, I call them band rats because I'm a band rat.
Absolutely.
Whenever the time came that I was in class, because he threw me out if I was in class, I'd be in the band room.
Yes.
That was my haven.
Right.
That was where I went. So when I left there, I felt good about whatever. I'd be angry, and it was so funny because it's a universal, it's a kind of a situation where I remember going in mad and angry about something, and then leaving the band room laughing and doing what I need to do.
Right, absolutely.
And it is a change of life. It is a place that you can go. And I feel that our students don't have that.
Right.
They have so many pressures put upon them on two-dimensional issues. And I mean two-dimensional, and I'm just being very honest and frank about it, because a kid can come in, I'm gonna be an aeronautical engineer,
Right.
but you're afraid of heights. I'm going to be a oceanographer
Right.
or a botanical guard. I work in the gardens, but I
Right.
have an allergy to grass.
Right.
You know, or I can't swim.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things of that nature that you'll put in. But when you put down, I'm going to be in music, you go, I don't know now.
Right.
Because,
right.
you know, there's not a whole lot in music you can do when in
Mhm.
fact that is not the case. There
I
are
agree.
tremendous amounts of job and college opportunities for those of us in music. Both of us were in the Marines. I must put that in.
Right.
And,
we were.
you know, we must do that.
Yeah.
Simplified.
Yeah.
And the opportunities in military music are tremendous.
I agree.
Are tremendous.
Mhm.
And so you in the band.
Yes.
I was in the Commandant's Own Drum and Bugle Corps,
Mhm.
you know, and I would see the Marine Band every day. And
Yeah.
these are guys and gals that would come in and would, that's where they played. And they played, many of them got their degrees, many of them, they just, that was their life.
Yes.
And there is a track, and the biggest misconception is that there are no college or occupational tracks in the arts, and that is the biggest misconception. And so, for me, I see CPS has bought on to that. They've diminished so many things.
Right.
We've lost. We had the band contest, which is almost 100 years old.
Right.
That's in jeopardy. They're doing some things, but there are things that are happening that are weakening it. We lost the Jazz Festival. We
I
don't
know
do
that is too
anymore.
bad.
And so they replaced it with the Jazz Institute, and then it's an Ellington competition more so than it is a CPS, and that was a 20-year endeavor.
Right.
What happened there, I don't know.
Right.
But I do know that in the arts, it doesn't carry
Mhm.
as important a role in the overall scheme of things as it used to.